Bubble tea is one of life's greatest joys, but it can be really expensive and bad for the environment, so I wanted to make some really easy, simple DIY recipes. You can find tapioca pearls at Asian supermarkets or online, and you just have to boil them for 3 to 5 minutes until they go black and glossy. When they're ready, I recommend mixing with a syrup. This can be easily made with just sugar and water boiled, or you can get coffee syrups like caramel flavours at most supermarkets. I'm using raspberry syrup here for our first recipe, which is fruit tea. It could not get easier than this. Just brew your favourite fruit tea, add some ice and pour it over the bubbles. I was using rose and lychee fruit tea here and it was delicious. Next up, we've got another classic, the caramel milk tea. Again, really simple. Brew a mug of black tea, add caramel syrup to the bubbles, and pour them together. I then used oat milk to top it up, but feel free to use any plant-based milk you like. Like all the recipes here, you can sweeten and adjust to your own taste. This is just a really fun way of making tea a bit more exciting. Recipe number 3 is honeydew green tea. Brew 1 mug of green tea and mix it together with 1/8 of a melon and some agave syrup. Add your favourite plant-based milk and blend it all together. This is a very summery, light, refreshing drink, and blended with ice it has a slush texture which makes it just perfect for summer days. Our next recipe is tiger milk tea, and don't worry, no tigers or tiger milk is used in this recipe. First, take about 40 grams of brown sugar and mix it with 30 milliliters of water, leaving it to simmer over the bubbles. Unfortunately, mine didn't turn out as thick as I've liked, so make sure to really simmer it for long enough. Ideally, the sugar syrup should stick to the edges of the glass to give it the tiger streak effect. I discovered that if you put a tiny bit of syrup in the bottom of the glass and turn it upside down, it will look perfect. Just top it up with milk and you're ready to serve. The flavour of this drink is very rich and mellow. It reminds me of autumn and bonfire night, so I really recommend. Next up we have strawberry cloud milk tea. Inspired by the Dalgona coffee trend that took the internet by storm last summer, I blended 3 strawberries with a splash of milk and then whisked together with 1/8 of a cup of plant-based double cream until it formed stiff peaks. I then added milk to my bubbles and ice, and then just spooned the strawberry mixture on top, giving it a wonderful cloud-like texture. This was definitely one of my favourites of the list. It was so sweet and creamy. This would be the perfect drink for little cottagecore summer picnics. Next up we have a matcha tea. Take half a teaspoon of matcha and leave it to bloom in some boiling water. Then add any sweetener or vegan honey that you like and add it to a cup of milk. Then just pour it over your bubbles and you have a delicious matcha tea. This is probably one of the healthier ones on the list. However, if you're looking for something slightly less healthy, here's the chocolate chip recipe. Make your favourite vegan hot chocolate recipe. I was using Cadbury's accidentally vegan hot chocolate powder with soya milk. Then add a handful of chocolate chips and blend with ice. There you have your chocolate chip bubble tea. Next up is another classic, the red bean tea. Take some red bean paste, easily found at Asian supermarkets, or you can make your own as I did by boiling canned azuki beans and sugar. Blend 1/8 of a cup with a cup of milk and you have your red bean tea. Next up we have Thai tea. Mix a tablespoon of black tea, 1/4 of a teaspoon of aniseed, a crushed cardamom pod, 3 cloves, half a cinnamon stick, some vanilla bean and half a teaspoon of almond extract. Leave that to boil in 1 cup of water and strain. Add a tablespoon of sugar and 2 tablespoons of milk. Then pour some condensed coconut milk over the bubbles and then top up with the tea. Make sure not to brew for too long. Next up is the most unhealthy, most delicious recipe, the chocolate cheesecake tea. I mashed together 50 grams of vegan cream cheese with a pinch of salt and 25 grams of sugar. I added 25 milliliters of milk and whisked until foamy. In a separate bowl, I whisked 50 grams of double cream until it formed medium peaks. I then mixed the two liquids together and whisked until smooth. I made the hot chocolate recipe from earlier and topped it with this cream cheese topping. I've always been intrigued and a little confused by what cheese tea is, since I've never found a vegan version, but I'm so happy to announce that it is delicious and probably one of my favourite of the whole bunch. They're all so tasty in their own separate ways. They can all be made in around 5 minutes and you can adjust them to your taste really easily. I hope you've enjoyed these recipes. They were really fun to make, and making bubble tea can just be an extra exciting thing to do in lockdown. Whether you're a bubble tea connoisseur or a total newbie, please let me know if you've enjoyed. If you're looking for some more vegan content, then why not hit subscribe? Thank you so much for watching. This was such a blast to film.